It's 9 o'clock, so I'll call the meeting of the Codington County Board of Commissioners to order. And Auditor, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Number 2 on the agenda, call for public comments. So public comment can be submitted in person or by telephone at these 2 phone numbers, 605-882-6248 or 605-882-6297. And I'd remind us all to silence our cell phones, and we need to take a call, step out into the hall. And are there any conflict of interest items for any commissioners?
No.
Yeah, I have none. Okay. Actually, I entertain a motion to approve today's agenda.
Also move that
The motion by Van Dusen, second by Waterman. Any discussion, changes? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those say no, that motion carries. Number 5, action to approve last week's minutes.
So move.
Motion by
I'll second
Johnston,
it.
second by Schwer. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I say no. That motion carries. Number 6, monthly reports.
All right. Good morning, commissioners and everyone. Just a few things to report on in relation to opioid payments. We did receive another one yesterday for $793.44, which brings our total now to $10,022.68. We will continue to receive those. I guess there are several other manufacturers that are part of that settlement. So it's hard to say what the grand total will end up being, but that is something that I did check with the Department of Social Services in Pierre. So that will be ongoing. We are also collecting the 2024 budget requests, and as in previous years, we'll continue to work with the City of Watertown and the school board for their combined election to help them prepare their ballots, and we'll cooperate with them to stay open the day of election. Our office will be open 7 to 7 to help with any voter questions, and then also they will use our scanner to count their ballots. So that is all I have to report, unless someone has any questions for me.
Just so in case people are wondering about the opioid payments, so that's the result of a class action settlement that goes, actually a lot of counties around the country are benefiting from that. It's not a ton of money in our case, but there are some specific things we can use it for. So just so people, in case people are wondering. But any other comments? Okay.
Nope.
Director of Equalization, come on down.
Morning, Shauna.
Morning, Sean. Morning.
Okay, so we are just starting our transition from the 2023 to 2024 assessment year. Since we're all done with boards now, we are getting ready to send in about our first 6 months worth of sales, because our year is from November 1st to October 31st. We send those in a Department of Revenue and then have a half it. They audit half the year and then they'll come back again and audit the second half year sales. And then the appraisers started last week out, working in the fields. We're doing Waverly Township and Cransburg Townships this year. So that's what we're doing. We, I think, have maybe one more year out in the county after this one, and then we'll be back in town, in Watertown, so depending on. But that's all I really got.
Thank you.
Any questions? Yeah, all right. Thanks, Sean.
No problem.
Thanks,
Thank
Shauna.
you. Enjoy the rain that's coming.
We finally get the snow on and then the rain.
You'll need them new muck boots that are sitting in your budget.
Cleaning everything up.
Just kidding.
Morning.
Good morning, good morning, sorry. Yep, welfare office, so here's my monthly report.
I think we have it.
Oh, you do have that one, I wouldn't need to make copies of that, you don't have my narrative.
Okay.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry,
Do you have a copy?
it's been a week, it's been a month, here, that's right there. No, there we go. Yeah, the narrative is attached. I forgot that I had sent the graphs too. Yeah, you can see our services in April. Even though the numbers were down, we were really busy in April. We had some other things going on with the Codington Connects Day and that kind of stuff. So office was still really busy. Yeah. Any questions on any of those pieces? 10 individuals served, 19 services recorded. That
Looks like
information-
our funeral assistance is still going up.
Yeah, but it kind of slowed down. So I've been keeping an eye on it, and it hit really hot in January. And so we're still having a few, but not nearly at the pace that we were at the start of the year. So if it stays where it's at, we should be okay with the budget with that, but we'll see. You can't predict that. really.
Yeah, I know. One of those unknowns.
Yeah. Yeah. For my narrative report, Kara, we received $4,000 in administrative fees for the work that Carrie has done to administer CARES ERA, for the state. Our cap is still averaging around 10 to 12 hours per week for the impact or CHW program. I do have a request in for Paige to start going full-time as of next week. She's completed her classwork, and so she'll be able to move to full-time starting next Monday. That fund is covered through the grant. All of her salary is covered through that CHW grant with that. And then in addition, we're working out the logistics of getting Carrie enrolled in the CHW program. She's planning to do that certification program and starting in the fall. So that would be the fall semester that she would do that program.
That's not the full associates.
No,
it's just
no, it's just the certification. It's like 6 credits or something.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that would be, it'll be August through December that she'll do that though. And again, that's covered through the grant. In our office itself, the Watertown Cares, there's been some delays in closing on the 615 or 612 flats, but we're hoping this week, just waiting on a couple logistics, working through the South Dakota Housing Authority and the federal government, getting all of those pieces in place with that. So hopefully this week. And then there will be some renovations. So it'll be another month or so for the renovation time with that. I did attend the Collective Impact Summit, April 25th to the 27th. It was really informative. The nice thing with that being online is I can go back and rewatch some of the things. There were some of the sessions where there were 5 sessions I wanted to be at. And so I can go back and rewatch them. And then there were other ones where I was like, well, I guess I'll go to this one because that's always how it goes with those kinds of things. So I can go back and rewatch those. So that was good. We had our annual Sadako meeting, the South Dakota Association of County Welfare Officials. That was in Pierre in April. And over 20 counties attended. So it was really good attendance. Since I've started, that's the best attendance we've had for county welfare officials. So I think we found the right time
So
for that
those are
meeting.
counties that have a separate welfare official.
No.
It's not, so these are some dual headed.
Mhm.
Okay.
Most of them are dual, a lot of auditors and county
Right,
welfare
right.
official. Combined role. Yeah. Yeah, but so we had some good conversation, good discussion. I think we're gonna adjust our fall meeting and just really talk more about the logistics of how the welfare offices work and what we cover through the county welfare offices across the state. So that'll be good. For the big work that we really did the last month was in the systems of care pieces of that. Again, our interagency meeting was with CASA last month, and so that was well attended. Again, that was on Zoom. And then we had our Codington Connects Day, which was April 18th, and that was well attended. We had a really good turnout. That went all really well according to how we had wanted it to go. We're going to continue to reach out to the broader community because that continues to be our goal, is to connect people beyond social services. I do have the card for all of you. I'll just hand it here. You can take what you want. This is one of our marketing pieces. We announced at that event that Codington Connects is now the umbrella for our social service groups. We have a website, and I would encourage you to check out the website. There is a QR code on the back of these, and we'll be getting more information out too. That website has all of the resources in our community. And when I say all of them, it's really expansive. I was really excited to see it when the design company set it up for us. They included activities for youth, activities for adults, activities for elderly, and just all different kinds of things. And so it's a really, really fantastic resource for our entire
It's easy to
community.
use.
Very easy to
Yeah.
use,
Yes.
very easy.
I was looking at it.
Yeah, oh, good.
And it's a good website, very good,
Thanks.
and it's simple to use.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
can use it, it's simple.
Well, and that was the goal, to make it really easy for people to know
Yeah.
what's out there. what they
Is,
can-
so as people in the community might have ideas what to add to that, is there a central person they can, through you?
It's to me. And so right now, if there's anything to add, there's a link on there that they can go in for more information. And so they can enter their information, and that goes to a centralized email, which I'm checking, but there's a couple of us that will be checking that. And then also I do have a form for people to add either resources or events to the calendar, because that's one of the other great things that was really important to our whole group, was that we have a central calendar of all of the different events and trainings and things that are going on. So
Yeah.
that's on there as well. So
Yeah,
I
that's
have
something
those
that's
forms.
been hard, yeah.
Mhm.
There are a few other places to try to do that, but it's been pretty cumbersome, so, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I agree with Commissioner Johnson. It's a well laid out.
Mhm.
It's already got a lot of information on there, so.
Yeah, they did a great job getting it ready. There's some things now that I was just this morning looking at some forms, and I was like, oh, I gotta go in and adjust. A lot of things happened in a really short time, and so some of the things we just had to call it good enough for the moment, and so we'll get it tweaked now. So yeah, so that was a really great thing. We also announced at that event that we are a resilient community, which is an ongoing thing. Like, we've met the standard, and that part of that standard means that we will continue to work at this. And so we're going to continue to have trauma informed things, and to do what we can to prevent trauma in children, which also means helping their parents, because we know if we can help adults do better, children will do better. So that's part of that goal with resilient communities. We're continuing that work. And then we're also continuing some conversations regarding sustainability. Had some good conversations with the development company and the community foundation. The Chamber of Commerce was also part of that conversation about what that can look like. And so we're just kind of having some exploratory conversations, and we'll have more going forward about how that can look as we move forward. So, and our action teams, it kind of feels like we had a little pause in the action teams. I don't know that we did, but we just delayed a couple things because of the Codington Connects Day. They'll all be meeting here within the next couple weeks again to continue the action planning.
What's the topic for Thursday?
Oh, thank you. This Thursday for interagency meeting, it's just a connection day. So it's a networking meeting.
Okay.
And so it's an in-person meeting at Midwest Bible, and it's designed for social service agencies to connect with each other, but I know we appreciate having commissioners and other people that are interested in those, like what's happening in the community, attend that. So that meeting will be introductions of all of the different agencies, what's going on, and then just time to visit. with each other.
And May is Mental Health Month.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for catching that. It is Mental Health Month. One of the things with Codington Connects is that we're going to have a partner agency of the month. And so for May, we've chosen the Human Service Agency to be our partner agency of the month because it is Mental Health Month. And so watch for a little bit more information about the Human Service Agency. We're working on some other marketing pieces and stuff with that, but they have an article on the website and different things like that. I think the Carrie Johnston's article went up this morning about the Human Service Agency.
And they're very anxious about opening a new facility and they still say June 1st or.
Our
at the
whole
threat.
Our whole community is anxious
Yeah.
for that. We will be very, very glad when that happens. I mean, we see that in our world, but it really does affect all of the work that we
Yeah.
do, their ability to have that here. So, yes. Anything else?
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Busy.
sir.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 7. Action to approve the auditor's account with treasurer and note the monthly register of deeds fees.
Do you have in your packet, the 3 pages, to note the auditor's account, the cash and cash items with the treasurer as of the last day of April? The cash on hand, general ledger, special revenues.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Van Duzen, second by Waterman. Any other questions or discussions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. That motion carries.
And I would just note the register of deeds fees for the month of April was $24,066.45.
So next item on the agenda is number 8, action to approve an agreement for striping of county roads.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is something that we do every year on all of our roads that we're gonna chip seal. And this could be the last year for this because the state wants to change this. And it's a pretty good discount for us, but like I said, they are working on changing it, so we'll have to pay more money. So, but this is what we have this year, so.
Things in the items in your packet, so motion.
So what is the cost share?
Oh,
It's 60-40 with the state paying the 60%, the county paying 40. Which would be $6,868.87 for the county.
say that one more time, will you?
$6,868.87.
Thank you.
60% is paid by the state. Okay.
Yep.
Move to approve.
Motion by Johnson.
Second.
Second by Van Duzen. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. Okay, that motion carries. Thanks, Rick. And we got a next item is yours too. Number 9 is action to approve an MOU with the city of Watertown to cost share the 14th Avenue Northwest Bridge project.
Yes, this Mark Yunker with Banner Associates is working on getting this bridge designed. And the cost estimate right now is $3.6 million. And it's going through the big program, and our 20% would be $800,000. And the city wants to add on a bike path. And Marcus came up with the county paying 62% of that 800,000, which would be $496,000. And then the city paying 38%, which would be $304,000. So that's this, the city's helping pay for what they want to add on to the bridge.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
So it's $1 million addition. What it amounts to, right? Between the two of them.
Mm,
No, not exactly. Because the 800,000 would be what we had to pay totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it wouldn't be quite $1 million. I'd have to talk to Mark. I'm not exactly sure on what that addition of the bike path would be. I don't think it'd be $1 million.
There was some numbers that came out a while back for the cost estimate, right? Matt, if I remember right, getting some from him in an email, but
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve this.
Motion by Van Dusen. So the motion we're talking about is approving the memorandum of understanding with the city of Watertown related to the cost sharing of the 14th Avenue Northwest Bridge
Correct.
project. Is there a second? So second by Johnson. Any other questions or discussion?
Well, the split on that bridge. And to get a little more understanding. Most of that land up there is encompassed or will be encompassed by the city at some point in time, right? Are we?
Somewhere down the line,
Once that is included in the city, will the county still be responsible for bridges?
I do believe that would turn over to the city then. I'm not exactly sure. That's a question when Mark comes for later this summer, because he's gonna start his bridge inspection. That's something that we can ask him when he comes.
And if so, that's why I'm questioning your percentages on this. Of cost share, how much of that is city land and how much of that is county land? Because the city has come in and built a lot to the east, up to the east and to the north. And Howard Hoppers from there, I believe is in the city. And to the north side of that, I'm not familiar, but I was kind of questioning those percentages when I'd like to see it worked out so that the land percentages would be to the bridge.
I think I understand what
City
you're
owns
saying.
80% of the land. I think they should pay for 80% of that.
The only issue is that if we do it now, we have to look at who owns what now.
And the county right now
Yeah.
takes care and maintains that stretch up to
Yeah.
the tracks, right?
Yeah.
So from the railroad tracks to Highway 20 is maintained by the county.
Correct.
Okay.
And see where this bridge is at? That's all river bottom.
Yep.
Will that ever be annexed into the city? You know,
Yeah,
where that bridge is at?
yeah, probably
know,
not.
I don't know. That's beyond me to answer that question.
But if the city would own around it, that river deal should be within the city.
That's not up to me to decide.
No.
I'd give it to him right now if I could.
No, just
That, Rick, I'm just looking at
Yeah.
percentages of land that's in the county
Yeah.
versus percentage of what the
Yeah.
city is paying.
And Mark's the one that came up with a percentage for the city to pay.
But I
so.
would appreciate it if somebody would check into that.
Yep.
And
And I'll talk to Mark when I leave here.
now this is just contingent upon the successful award of the big grant, correct? Okay,
Yes.
so
And the probably wouldn't be built until like 2026. So but it's still in the bridge design phase,
mhm.
you know, so there's still a long ways to go before this is ever
The
complete.
roads are long, yeah. So
It's a long
now's- yeah,
process.
now's the time to be talking about it. So.
Yep,
but now is the time when you should be discussing those
Yep.
percentages.
yep, and I will talk to him and someone from the city, you know, if someday that would ever be annexed into the city. So,
Well, the assumption is what we have right now, so.
Yep.
So, any other questions or discussion? So hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, that motion carries.
thank you.
That's it.
Yeah,
Thanks, Rick.
So number 10, action to approve an application for West Nile virus prevention grant funds.
All right, Steve was not able to be here. Yeah, this is
We do it
something
every
that
year.
is just done every year.
Yeah, we got a motion by Johnson,
Yeah, I'll second it.
second by Schwer. Okay.
Second by Schwer.
Yeah, so Johnson, Schwer. And I'm sorry, do you want to?
Yeah,
it's-
it is, he's gonna go for the maximum amount of 5,000. It's just to allow him to apply for this grant, and then we will just see if it is, if he is approved. So this is just for him to apply.
Any questions, discussion?
I think in the past, we've been very fortunate in getting that too. We've been very, very fortunate and this has been ongoing for years, just a procedure thing almost.
Mhm.
But you still gotta jump through the hoops.
Then you go to Aberdeen and Steve goes to Aberdeen and gets testing done and calibration and things like that.
Yeah, any other questions or discussion? There, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Let's say no. Okay, that motion carries. Number 11, action to approve the sheriff's application for a cops grant.
Morning.
How's it morning?
Good.
Morning, Brad.
Good.
First of all, I'd like to start out by, this week is National Correctional Officer Week. So if you see a corrections officer, make sure you thank them for the hard work that they do, because they do deal with some difficult inmates at times. So. All right, we'll talk about the cops grant a little bit. I did bring my chief deputy Brent, if there's some questions, he's kind of been the one working on the grant information and kind of getting some of that, but looking for next year, I was kind of looking at adding a deputy for the schools and doing a school resource officer. I've been in talks with the schools and some of the superintendents, some early talks here about maybe doing a partnership with them. That sounds favorable so far. All the schools are on board with them maybe paying. Of course, contract stuff would be, we're in really early phases here, but maybe doing they pay half, the county pay half for this employee. The cops grant that we're looking at here would help supplement some of the county funds here that would have to be put towards the school resource officer. It's $125,000 what we could be applying for. It's for 4 years. The county's responsible for the last year and thereon after. So 3 years up to $125,000 is what the federal grant could subsidize and work towards a school resource officer. It's kind of what we're looking for. So like I say, right now we're just looking to apply for this grant. I'm guessing it would be a few months before we found out if we were even accepted for the grant, and we can have further discussions at that time whether or not we want to move forward. And then we should be a little bit closer and better talks and further negotiations with the schools of kind of what their input and how much they would be willing to pay. And like I say, when I'm talking about the school resource officer, we're talking about the 3 rural schools out in Codington County, Waverly, South Shore, Florence, and Henry. So this person would be a kind of part-time between all 3 schools as a school resource officer. So
Question on that, Brad. 125,000 is a lot of money. And I don't know what percentages you do the 4 years and the 1 year, but what's the cost? Then there's going to be uniforms involved. There's going to be a vehicle involved.
yep.
And what would those costs be? What's a vehicle cost nowadays?
A vehicle costs are 35 to 40,000, somewhere in that range.
So they're about 40,000.
Yep, around 40,000. I usually try to get about 5 years out of those. And SRO would be traveling to schools back and forth. They probably wouldn't put as many miles on as a regular patrol deputy. But there's a cost associated with the vehicle. Uniforms, the county and the deputies have a contract together with $1,000 a year for uniform allowance. And then the rough with benefits, a new deputy around $75,000 to $80,000 with benefits, pay and everything that the county offers for a new deputy. So that $125,000 would cover not quite full 2 years of the salary, but.
And the other question I got, and I'm just curious, what about vacation time? This gentleman's going to be, or this person, I should say, is going to be full-time.
The vacation,
About when they have vacations closed for the summer, et cetera, et cetera.
that's one of the bonuses about having a school resource officer. Seems like the deputies have had a lot of vacation time and a lot of time off. So we would like to be able to use that SRO to supplement and help the deputies when they're on vacation time. And also, I guess when that person's on vacation, we'd have to have a deputy supplement that person, depending on the contracts and everything that we develop with the schools. So, like I say, the schools, I just kind of roughly threw out some numbers of possibly paying half of the wages towards a person. And there was no school board approval. Like I say, we're still in early negotiations, but it sounds like it's favorable, and everybody's kind of looking forward to possibly going forward and continuing the talks here. So
it'd be a deal where each school would contribute like a third of half of the cost of a deputy. So 17% or 18%, whatever that calculates to be.
Yep.
And then the county would pick up the remaining 50%.
Yep.
Okay. So
So-
1530.
Yeah, so would this be a full certified law enforcement
This
officer?
would be a full-time certified law enforcement officer. Again, like I say, it would help cover some of our vacation and annual leave and sick leave that the other deputies accrue in the summertime. We can use that person to help out with investigations. And of course, there'll be some training that goes along with an SRO position, so there'd be some opportunity in the summertime to do some further training and education.
Right. Can you explain the SRO program for those that don't know what a SRO does and the value of having an SRO in the schools? I know from what we do here in Watertown, but maybe the rest don't know.
Sure. An SRO, when we're talking about SRO, it's a school resource officer. What would we do? And we'd be putting a deputy in the schools, like say a third of the time in each of all our rural schools here. So that'd equal a full-time deputy. That officer or deputy can be a counselor to a deputy to assisting with teaching. They gain friendships and they work really closely with our students. It's a trusted adult where our students can come and actually have a conversation with a law enforcement officer, and that way they're not actually scared of the deputies. There's becoming a lot more issues with truancy. There's our smaller schools are starting to grow more. We can work more closely with our schools and our superintendents that are out in the county. Like say, oftentimes they'll call me directly, our superintendents, which is great, but this would actually give a face and a name to somebody that's in the school that they see every day, every other day, something like that, that they can work with a troubled youth, kind of work, try to get them so they're going to school, make sure that they're not vaping. We can have educational programs. They can expand on the DARE program. That's a thing that we do right now. There's other pieces of the pie on the DARE program that we can expand on the education part. There's just so many things that this program can be tweaked to, and each school would have an opportunity to kind of tweak it to their needs. Like say, our small schools are growing. They seem like they just keep growing more and more. So along with growth becomes bigger issues, and so try to get in front of it a little bit and help educate.
The $125,000 grant, that's a one time.
It's a one-time.
And when do we get that? Right away or at the
It
end?
would, if we get accepted for it, like say right now, we're looking to just apply for it. If we get accepted for it, we would have to accept it, I'm guessing in July or January, somewhere in there, probably when we would find out. Then we would accept it and start that. I would shoot for next year because I plan on budgeting for this person next year in our budget. So I would look for January. If everything goes well, it's kind of when we would hopefully start. Like I say, still a lot of conversations and still got to work with the school boards of them 3 schools too, to do some negotiating and contracts and make sure that everybody has their.
Now, if I recall, there's some fine print in there about hiring that person full-time to replace a retiree.
There is fine. This is for adding an additional person. Like say, when we're going through the application, there's a lot of questions on there that you're going to retain your other employees that you have in that same field there. So you can't eliminate one and then get one here. That would be supplanting.
So this deputy that you'd be adding, is this in addition to the last one that you just added, or is that position that you're looking at?
No, this would be adding in.
Okay,
That's
okay.
what this would be, a strictly an SRO position.
Gotcha.
Adding on top of what we have. So.
So 10 years from now, we still have to hold that position.
Technically,
That
4
level-
years,
That level.
after 4 years, we can make changes or do whatever. I would expect that we're not going to go backwards, but.
No, I'm not saying to go backwards.
Yeah.
Just to get a better understanding of it.
Yep, the contract, like say, when you accept the grant, if we were awarded the grant, the 4th year, county has to pay fully, and then after 4 years, we could do whatever we wanted, so.
The other part I'm curious about, you mentioned truancy. Is that getting to be more of a problem?
That is getting to be a very big problem with our rural schools and also in Watertown here. Trying to get kids to go to school and working with the parents, vaping, drugs, sexting. It's
And
It's
Jeff,
become a bigger issue.
I did we both do the JDAI stuff, and you're
There is-
definitely seeing that trend. So.
Yep.
The reason I ask, I hear through the grapevine that there's more law enforcement getting involved in truancy and some confinement as a result.
Yeah, like I say, we can hopefully catch it and curb it before we have to start doing the diversion programs and doing some of that. Like I say, we can build them relationships with the law enforcement officer and be able to go out there and kind of catch them and, hey, what's wrong? What's going on? get them going to school.
Okay, well, so what, any other questions or discussion? So we're gonna need a motion and a second to keep going with this.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and allow.
So make a motion from Van Dusen,
I'll second
a second from Schwer. Any other questions or discussion? One question I had was, what is the deadline for the grant application?
May 11th is when I got it all filled out, and May 11th is when.
So it's coming up. So
We're-
so it's in 2 days.
We're hitting enter when we leave here. So
So I don't, not, but just so people understand, I'm not trying to make, it's good that you're asking today, but the point is that, we need to get this, if we want this to be factored into, the discussions that still have to take place. We need to take care of this and allow you to
Yep.
apply for the grant. So
Yep.
that was my point in asking.
I got plans to meet with the school boards here this summer. We started having those discussions. I met with the superintendents several times and sounds like they're kind of excited and they support this idea.
Mhm.
So they're actually really excited about this. They
Yeah.
actually said they would be willing to come and chat with you guys as well, if that's something you guys want to hear from. But like I say, yeah, there's still a lot of talks, negotiations and contracts and policy and a lot of that stuff that would have to happen before we press play on something like this. So
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, please say aye. Or all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. Okay, that motion carries. Thanks, Brad.
Look forward thinking.
Thank you.
I like it.
All right.
Thanks, Brad.
Okay, number 12. Note the board will not meet on May the 30th of 2023. So that's. It's just a friendly note. So it's because that's the 5th Tuesday of the month. And typically we do not meet on the 5th Tuesday of a month. So if there are 5 Tuesdays in a month, and May is one of those months. So number 13, action to approve abatement applications.
Done today?
None for that. But we do have some claims for payment.
We do. And that.
Number 14.
Yes, was sent out. Nothing that I really highlighted. I will just. So I should put this on. I will note that of the total amount of claims, the state pass-through amount was $574,146.40. So the actual county claims were $486,553.29.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Van Dusen. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Schwer. So any other discussion? Questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. That motion carries. Okay, number 15, action to approve automatic budget supplements.
We have 2 of those. I'll need 2 different motions for these if I could. The first one is for the welfare budget. It is on the ERA 2 grant funds. These are have already been paid to the claimants and just needs to be put back into the welfare budget in the amount of $100,000. And this is again for the ERA 2 grant funds.
So move.
So motion by Johnson,
I'll second it.
second by Schwer. Any questions or discussion? All hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. That motion carries.
And the second one is to the ARPA budget, and this was due to the interest that was earned throughout the time that our ARPA money is done, but we have to put this interest back into to balance out that budget and the amount of $60,038.80.
So moved.
Motion by Van Dusen. Is there a second?
So
A second by Johnson. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries. And number 16, so that's it for the.
That's all for a yes.
So number 16 is action to approve personnel changes. I think I saw a few in there.
We have one for Paige Welling. And her effective date is 5/15/2023. Her title is Community Care Coordinator for the Welfare Office, Step 1. Her current rate is $20.66, and that's a new rate, increasing from part-time 20 hours to full-time 40 hours.
move.
Motion by Johnson,
I'll second it.
second by Schwer. Okay, so this is one that Sarah mentioned.
Yes.
And so it's covered by that CHW grant. So any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, that motion carries. Public notices.
And we have some travel requests.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Yeah. Travel press, number 17.
Okay, so we have individuals from the welfare office attending the second annual CHW conference. Means of transportation is by vehicle. The rest you have that information in front of you. It's covered, some of them are covered by the CHW grant. And then we also have emergency management to go to the state EM 103 class. Meals paid by the county. Registration, there is not any, so. If there's any other questions, but I believe you should have all that information.
Okay, motion, some motion by Van Duzen,
I'll second it.
second by Schwartz. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries. And number 18, public notices, a possible quorum of commissioners could be in attendance at. Do you have anything, Commissioner Johnson? Usually, I think we have a government affairs meeting tomorrow, but I think that's not one morning. I can't think of any, I'm not thinking of anything.
We have
Okay.
a planning meeting, I don't know, of course, that's already scheduled.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, that's, okay. All right, I don't think we have anything too exciting. Any, number 19, any old business? Any new business?
Should bring that up during this, or should we wait?
We can wait. It's up to you, but we can wait a little bit. It's fine with me if you, whichever way you want to do it, so.
All right, so I guess I'll just bring it up now and
Yeah.
just so it's on everybody's radar. County Coroner Terry Sorensen has provided some information in reference to a building that he would like to build to house the refrigeration unit that we have been talking about. So I have some estimated quotes for stuff here. We're not going to address anything, but I just want to put that on the radar so that when it's on the agenda, hopefully for next week, we can have Terry here to kind of give us a rundown on that. It is not a budgeted item, but it's something that we need to look at figuring out a way to fix.
Okay.
If
all
you
right.
will.
Okay.
So
No, if he,
anyway.
yeah, if he can show us,
So-
explain what the options are, what the time frame
Yeah,
kind of thing is.
there's a lease in a building and
Okay.
stuff, but he can be here next week. So.
Okay. Anything else for new business? Okay, number 21, open, any public comments? I don't think we got anything. in there. Okay. Hush falls over the crowd. Okay, number. Commissioners' comments, any other comments? All right. And do we have a need for executive session? I don't think, do we? I don't. Nope. Okay, go with me. No. Okay, so I guess that brings us to number 23. Move to adjourn. So motion by Johnson to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Schwer. All in favor, please say aye.
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 We'll say no. That motion carries. We are adjourned.